Did you know that The Simpsons even predicted a volcano eruption?
That's suspicious.
Or that people would start eating a forbidden type of meat?
What?
That's right, it happened in an episode from the 6th season released in 1995, where the show jokingly explores the possibility of school kids eating horse meat. The strange thing is that 9 years later, it was discovered that a very famous fast food chain in Europe was using beef mixed with horse meat and serving it to their customers. In other words, it was yet another Simpsons prediction that came true.
Don't worry, guys. Something always comes along to save us.
This is just one of the 12 predictions made by the most famous yellow family in cartoons, and they all came true, as we'll show you today. Michelangelo's statue. In Season 2, Episode 9 titled Itchy and Scratchy and Marge, which aired in 1990, there is an attempted censorship against the renowned Renaissance artist Michelangelo's statue of David. This is because the statue depicts a naked man, and some women consider it indecent.
Get dressed, Marge. You've got to lead our protest against this abomination.
But that's Michelangelo's David.
Interestingly, 26 years later, in 2016, a referendum was held in St. Petersburg, Russia, to decide whether a copy of the statue should remain on display in the city. This was all due to a complaint from a woman who found the statue indecent, just like in the cartoon. Volcanic eruption. Those familiar with The Simpsons should never doubt the things that happen in the show. This is the case in Season 16, Episode 4, She Used to Be My Girl. We meet Chloe Talbot, who used to be Marge's best friend and becomes a successful woman admired by Lisa. At one point, Chloe covers the eruption of a volcano in the episode.
I'm not a journalist.
You are now. Remember to keep my boobs in the shot.
People are crazy.
The episode was released in 2004, and 17 years later, in 2021, a volcano erupted in Las Palmas, Spain. Many journalists were dispatched to the location to cover the event, including Susano Griso, a very famous presenter in the country. And the recordings of the coverage of the catastrophe were remarkably similar to those in The Simpsons, almost identical. Tomeko. In the episode Tomeko, the 5th episode of Season 11, the Simpsons need to escape to the farm where Homer grew up. There, he has the brilliant idea of crossbreeding tomatoes and tobacco, creating a fruit with a strange taste, but addictive due to the nicotine in it. 4 years after the episode, a guy named Rob Bauer did the exact same thing. Rob grafted a tomato plant onto tobacco roots, and to his surprise, it worked. The resulting plant even bore fruits. Rob was inspired by The Simpsons to perform this feat. After watching the episode, he remembered a study from 1959 that he had read some time before, where scientists had crossbred a tomato plant with a tobacco plant, and that's how the new plant came to be. He even tested the leaves of the plant and confirmed that they contain nicotine. But unfortunately, Rob didn't make money out of it like Homer. After that, a Spanish artist, Federico Guzman, did the same thing on a farm in Seville. But according to him, the cultivation was an artistic tribute.
Don't do drugs.
Elon Musk and Twitter. Seriously, guys, The Simpsons is scaring me more and more because of how accurate they are. Listen to this story that I'm about to tell you. We all know that many celebrities appear in Springfield and befriend Homer and the family. And one of those who appeared there was none other than the richest man in the world, Elon Musk. At that time, he hadn't yet achieved that position, but he was already very wealthy. This happened in 2015, in the 12th episode of Season 26. The episode begins with Lisa putting food in a birdhouse with a sign that says, "Home Tweet Home." Let me ask you, have you ever heard the term tweet? Well, those are the messages sent on the social media platform Twitter, which happens to have a little bird as its logo. The fact is that Elon Musk bought the platform in 2022, 7 years after the episode, after which we could say was a creepy coincidence. Wow. We'll still talk about 7 more bizarre predictions that The Simpsons got spot on. If you love this yellow family and have at least laughed once watching one of their episodes, comment below, #Simpsons. Nobel Prize. This one is definitely one of the weirdest predictions from The Simpsons that came true exactly as they foresaw. In 2010, in the opening episode of the 22nd season, Elementary School Musical, something really eerie happened. Lisa and her school friends are watching the broadcast of the Nobel Prize, and they make a sort of list, each of them predicting the winners in each field of knowledge. If you look at Milhouse's predictions, you'll see he's an excellent guesser because the name he put down to win the Nobel Prize in Chemistry was William E. Morner, a brilliant American chemist who indeed won the Nobel, but not until 2014, 4 years later. Man, that's bizarre. Nobel Prize 2. What's even worse is that the same episode got it right not just once, but twice. It's spooky enough to get one prediction right, But 2? And the funny thing is, both of them are on Milhouse's list, just to avoid anyone saying it was luck. For the economics category, he said the winner would be Bengt Holmström, a Finnish economist who actually won the prize, but that was only in 2016. Seriously, this one gave me chills. Autocorrect. Who hasn't seen autocorrect change a word you didn't want to another one that makes no sense at all? Well, it seems like that's also one of the fixed functions of autocorrect. And what if I told you that The Simpsons predicted this technology 11 years before it even started to be developed? Would you believe me? I can barely believe it myself. In the 8th episode of the 6th season in 1994, titled Lisa on Ice, we see Dolph pull out a device and write a sentence that the device itself corrects, much like how the autocorrect we all use nowadays works. It's hard to imagine life without it, right? Well, believe it or not, this technology only began to be developed in the late year of 2005, over a decade later. Ebola. Humanity has always considered the possibility of a virus affecting the planet on a global scale, which unfortunately happened in 2020. However, long before that, there were discussions about other deadly viruses that could harm humanity, and one of them was depicted in Lisa's Sax, episode 3 of season 9 of The Simpsons. In this episode, Marge shows Bart a book parodying a children's character called Curious George, the Ebola virus. What's eerie is that the episode aired in 1997, and 16 years later, in 2013, there was an actual Ebola outbreak in West Africa. Democracy? In some episodes, The Simpsons like to make jokes about politics, as sometimes that's the best thing to do about the subject. In the 20th season's Treehouse of Horror 19 episode, Homer goes to vote for president. He tries to vote for Barack Obama, but the electronic voting machine insists on registering the vote for his political opponent, John McCain, in 2008. Homer continues to insist, and the machine even sucks him inside. The funny thing is that the episode aired in 2008, and 4 years later, in 2012, many people filmed attempts to vote for Barack Obama, but their votes were being registered for the other candidate, Mitt Romney. This time, they even got the candidate who was being cheated right. Wow! Burning police station. In the episode Days of Wine and Dozes, released in 1999, the 6th episode of season 11, we see Homer being stopped by Chief Wiggum, who asks him where the fire is, and Homer points to the police station, which is on fire. This would be funny if it weren't also tragic. In 2020, the same thing happened when protesters set fire to the Minneapolis police station during demonstrations over the death of George Floyd. Tell me if the two images aren't practically identical. Game of Thrones. As we all know, if someone or some successful series gains fame, it's bound to appear on The Simpsons eventually. And that's exactly what happened with Game of Thrones, the most successful series in history, at least until now. In the first episode of the 29th season titled The Simpsons, released in 2017, something we could call a prediction takes place. The episode is a compilation of various epic tales from pop culture, such as Dungeons & Dragons, Lord of the Rings, and Game of Thrones. During one part of the episode, we see a dragon flying overhead and setting the city on fire. Interestingly, this is exactly the same thing that happens at the end of the Game of Thrones series when Daenerys goes mad and burns the city of King's Landing, but that only happened 2 years later, in 2019. Sure, this could be considered a prediction, but many would also say it's just a very well-timed guess. These were the 12 spot-on predictions from The Simpsons that we've shared with you today. Leave a comment below and let us know what you think about them and which one you find the eeriest. And don't forget to give a like and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, bye-bye!